The story begins in a small, sun-soaked village in the Philippines, where a young boy named Miguel lives with his parents and younger sister in a modest, weathered home. Their lives are simple, often difficult, and shaped by financial struggles that make even basic necessities a challenge. Despite these hardships, Miguel has always possessed a rare gift, his voice. From the earliest age, he would hum and sing while doing chores, mimic songs he heard on the radio, and surprise anyone who listened with his pitch-perfect tones and natural control. His parents, though unable to afford music lessons or professional training, nurtured his talent with love and encouragement. They would clap and cheer whenever he performed for family or neighbors, and soon, the villagers began calling him, the little voice with a big heart. Miguel's voice carried more than melody, it carried emotion, hope, and a story of resilience that touched everyone around him. Life in the village was not easy. Miguel's father worked long hours at a construction site, and his mother sold small homemade goods in the local market. Money was always tight, and yet, they believed in Miguel's dream. They saved whatever they could, cutting corners and sacrificing little luxuries to support their son's talent. For Miguel, singing was never about fame or money, it was an escape, a way to express his emotions, and a way to bring joy to the people around him. Every performance, no matter how small, was an opportunity to connect with others, to make them feel something. One day, Miguel's father heard about an America's Got Talent audition being held in Manila. The news was thrilling but intimidating. Traveling to the audition required money they barely had, and competing in front of the world's top judges seemed like an impossible dream. Still, the family decided to take the leap. They sold a few possessions and pooled together their savings. The day of the audition arrived, and the streets of Manila buzzed with excitement as hopeful contestants lined up. Miguel, a small boy in a simple shirt, felt a mixture of nervousness and anticipation. The venue was vast, crowded, and intimidating, with cameras, lights, and hundreds of contestants all vying for the same golden opportunity. Despite feeling overwhelmed, Miguel reminded himself why he was there, to share his voice with the world. When it was his turn, Miguel stepped onto the stage, taking a deep breath. The judges looked at him skeptically, expecting perhaps another nervous, inexperienced child. But as soon as Miguel began to sing, the atmosphere changed. His voice flowed effortlessly, powerful yet tender, reaching every corner of the room. The audience was spellbound, and the judges leaned forward in astonishment. By the end of the performance, the room was silent, as if everyone collectively held their breath, savoring the final notes. Some audience members were moved to tears. The judges, typically reserved and hard to impress, exchanged amazed glances. It was clear that Miguel was no ordinary contestant. That single performance launched his journey to the next stage of America's Got Talent, and more importantly, it marked the first moment the world glimpsed the extraordinary talent hidden in a small Filipino village. After the initial audition, Miguel was invited to perform again for the judges in Las Vegas, a city buzzing with energy and spectacle. The competition was tougher, filled with seasoned performers and incredible talents that ranged from acrobats to illusionists. Backstage, Miguel observed other contestants, some of whom exuded confidence and had years of training. He felt small and inexperienced in comparison, but he clung to his love for singing, the one thing that had always lifted him above doubt. When it was finally his turn, Miguel walked onto the stage with quiet determination. The bright lights, the roaring audience, and the pressure of the moment could have intimidated anyone, but he focused on the song and the story he wanted to tell. Miguel's performance was a breathtaking blend of technical precision and heartfelt emotion. His voice carried both strength and vulnerability, perfectly capturing the mood of the song. The judges were visibly moved, some with tears in their eyes, and the audience erupted in applause as the final note lingered in the air. Social media clips began circulating instantly, praising Miguel's ability to evoke deep emotion and connect with listeners. His parents watched backstage, overwhelmed with pride and relief. The young boy who had once sung in a tiny village, with barely an audience beyond neighbors, had now stunned the world. By the end of the round, it was evident that Miguel's voice was not just beautiful, it was transformative, leaving an unforgettable mark on everyone who heard it. Miguel's journey continued as he advanced to the live shows, a stage that brought both excitement and immense pressure. Millions of viewers across the country would now witness his talent, and the stakes were higher than ever. Backstage, the atmosphere buzzed with energy. Contestants with extraordinary skills, dancers, magicians, and musicians, prepared for their moments in the spotlight. Some were seasoned performers, polished and confident, while others, like Miguel, relied on raw talent and heart. Though he felt nervous, Miguel reminded himself why he had come this far: to share his voice, to tell his story, and to touch people's hearts. He thought about the sacrifices his parents had made, the long hours they had worked, and the tiny village where his dreams first began. When his turn arrived, Miguel stepped onto the stage, the bright lights illuminating his small frame. The audience's applause was loud, yet as he began to sing, a hush fell over the room. His voice filled the arena with a power and emotion that transcended words. Every note carried a story of struggle, hope, and determination, and the audience responded with awe and admiration. Cameras captured close-ups of faces overcome with emotion, judges leaning forward, some with tears in their eyes. Miguel's performance was not just technically flawless but deeply moving. He had a way of connecting to the audience, making them feel his journey as if it were their own. After the performance, social media erupted with clips and messages praising Miguel's talent. Millions of viewers shared their reactions, calling him inspiring, extraordinary, and unforgettable. Backstage, his parents hugged him tightly, their pride overwhelming. For Miguel, the applause and accolades were gratifying, but the most important thing was the connection he had made. He realized that music could transcend borders, languages, and circumstances, uniting people through emotion. His story was no longer just about a poor boy from a small village, it was about the power of resilience, courage, and authenticity. As the competition progressed, Miguel's performances became increasingly ambitious. He carefully selected songs that reflected his journey, choosing pieces that demanded both technical skill and emotional depth. The judges, now fully aware of his extraordinary talent, offered guidance and encouragement. Simon Cowell, known for his critical eye, praised Miguel not only for his vocal ability but for his ability to communicate profound emotion through music. The young boy learned about stage presence, timing, and how to convey a story, skills that complemented his natural gift. Despite the pressure, Miguel remained humble, grounded in his love for singing and the dream that had brought him this far. In addition to preparing for performances, Miguel began receiving letters, messages, and comments from fans all over the world. People shared personal stories of how his singing had inspired them, comforted them during difficult times, or given them hope when they felt hopeless. The messages were overwhelming, yet they strengthened his resolve to perform with sincerity. He understood that his voice had the power to touch lives beyond the stage, to reach people he would never meet, and to create moments of genuine emotional impact. Every song became a message, every performance a testament to perseverance, and every note a symbol of hope. Miguel's journey through the live shows revealed not only his extraordinary talent but also his character. He demonstrated humility, resilience, and a deep understanding of the emotional power of music. Each performance built upon the last, earning the admiration of the judges, the respect of his fellow contestants, and the hearts of viewers worldwide. The boy who once sang in a tiny village, with a voice only a few had heard, was now captivating millions. His story was no longer about poverty or circumstance, it was about how pure talent, determination, and a genuine heart could silence doubts, inspire a global audience, and create moments that would be remembered long after the last note faded. The semi-finals brought the highest level of pressure Miguel had faced yet. The competition was intense, filled with performers who had polished acts, dazzling visuals, and years of experience. Backstage, the energy was electric, the nervous buzz almost tangible. Miguel, however, focused on what had always carried him through, his voice and the story he wanted to share. He reminded himself that he didn't need elaborate props or flashy effects. What he had was authenticity, raw talent, and a voice that could touch hearts in a way no production could. When it was his turn, Miguel stepped onto the massive stage, the lights blinding yet exhilarating. The audience erupted with applause, but he tuned it out, focusing entirely on the music and the message he wanted to convey. The song he chose was a powerful ballad that required not only vocal range but deep emotional expression. From the first note, his voice soared with confidence and vulnerability, filling the arena with a sound that seemed too big for such a small boy. Each line carried his journey, the struggles, the hope, the determination that had fueled him from his tiny village to the global stage. As he reached the climax of the song, the crowd fell silent, captivated by the purity and intensity of his performance. Judges were on their feet, some visibly emotional, some clapping with awe. Simon Cowell, known for his critical judgment, pressed the golden buzzer in a moment that sent shockwaves through the venue. Miguel's performance wasn't just technically perfect, it was transformative. The audience and judges were not simply listening, they were experiencing the story he had lived, feeling the weight of his journey, and connecting deeply to the emotion in his voice. Backstage, Miguel's parents embraced him, tears streaming down their faces. Their sacrifices, long days of labor, and unwavering support had culminated in this extraordinary moment. The golden buzzer didn't just secure Miguel's place in the finals, it validated the journey of a poor boy from a remote village who dared to dream beyond his circumstances. For Miguel, the applause, the praise, and the recognition were gratifying, but the true reward was the connection he had made with millions of people who were moved by his talent. He realized that his voice had the power to inspire, heal, and unite people across the world. The grand finale was a stage unlike any Miguel had ever experienced. The lights were brighter, the stage larger, and the audience bigger than anything he could have imagined. The energy in the arena was electric, filled with anticipation, excitement, and the collective hopes of millions watching at home. Miguel knew this was more than a performance, it was the culmination of years of sacrifice, determination, and unyielding faith in his dream. He carefully chose a song that reflected everything he had endured and everything he had hoped to achieve. As the music began, Miguel's voice soared effortlessly, blending strength, control, and emotion. Every note told a story, every phrase conveyed the depth of his journey. The judges, the audience, and viewers at home were spellbound. Social media buzzed instantly, clips of his performance going viral as millions shared their amazement at the sheer talent and heart pouring from the boy on stage. Miguel's performance wasn't just singing, it was a moment of transformation, a story that transcended boundaries and resonated universally. When the final note faded, the arena erupted in thunderous applause. Judges praised him with heartfelt emotion, calling him a once-in-a-generation talent. Miguel's parents hugged him tightly, their pride immeasurable. The boy who had started